Hello and welcome into the NJCAA Network for another episode of NJCAA All Access. I'm your host, Zach McKinstry, and today we talk JUCO baseball. We give you all the spring sports rankings and stick around for a loaded junior college gyms. But we start today with the top matchups from last week. The biggest surprise came in D1 baseball, where the number one Reavers of Iowa Western dropped a series against unranked Southeastern, losing by 10 in Game 1 and losing in walk-off fashion in Game 2. University of Iowa commit Cooper Schulte paced the Blackhawks to victory, tallying 3 hits and reaching base 5 times. But it was Abraham Rios who played hero, driving home the winning run by legging out an infield single. That shocker in Iowa wasn't the only Division I upset. Number 2 Gaston College split their doubleheader with number 4 Florence Darlington Tech in one of the top matchups of the season. Freshman UNC Wilmington commit Trevor Lucas had a great day at the dish for the Rhinos, going 2 for 3 with a homer and 3 RBIs, but his hot bat was matched by North Carolina commit Rom Kellis, whose 3-run homer was the difference in this one. Derek Duval shoved for the final 2 innings to get the save, and Flodar picked up a big win on the road. At the D2 level, more madness in Mississippi. Number 4 East Central won both of their contests against number 2 Pearl River, including this opener 3-1. It was a great pitcher's duel between freshman Thomas Crabtree and Marvin Lezcano, who both worked into the 6th inning. The Panama native Lezcano earned the win after not allowing a run through 5.2 and moved to a perfect 7-0 in 13 appearances this season. Marvin Jackson's 2-run homer provided the spark for the Warriors, who picked up a pair of much-needed victories. Number 3 LSU Eunice was also knocked off by unranked Panola in a 3-game series, holding on to this series finale 4-3. It was a pair of international pitchers that got the start in this one, with Liam Watt from Canada tossing 5 innings, only allowing 1 earned run and picking up 6 strikeouts, and Titus Von Kapp getting the no decision after 4 scoreless. It was a big series win for the Ponies. Here's the reaction after the final out. On to D3 baseball, where number 2 Dallas College Eastfield was lit up for 32 runs in the first 2 games for a 3-game set against Dallas College Cedar Valley. What a day it was for Hayden Carpenter in the series clincher with 2 hits, both long home runs, which accounted for 7 RBIs. Of the 18 hits for Cedar Valley, 15 were singles, and the Suns were scorching hot, taking the series over the Harvester Bees. Over to Division I softball, where Indian River State fans had a stressful but successful week, winning 3 straight ranked games by 1 run each. Here's what the pitching looked like over the course of that stretch, with freshmen Sierra Gendron and Jada Girigori both dealing. Gendron picked up 2 wins, allowing only 2 runs over 12 innings of work, and Girigori had 2 saves with 10 strikeouts in 8.2 innings. Great pitching in D2 softball as well, as the Jaguars of Danville area shut out number 1 Parkland to split their doubleheader. It was a one-woman show for two-way player Riley Ritchie, who struck out 11 in the shutout effort, and she drove in the game's only 2 runs. The sophomore from Indiana coming up big for Danville, who dealt the Cobras their first loss since February. And in lacrosse, the number 1s got it done in dominating fashion, as the men's top dog Hartford took down Nassau 19-12, and the women's best Onondaga throttled Monroe 24-9. The final couple weeks of the regular season are coming up, with some conference and region deciding games down the stretch. Here's some of the top matchups to look for this weekend. For starters, the new number 1 Johnson County has a ranked doubleheader against number 16 Cowley on Saturday, with some Region 6 implications. These 2 teams played 2 games yesterday and will meet each other again, as the Cavaliers play as the number 1 overall team for only the 2nd time in the program's 51-year history. Dagan Brewer is listed as one of the top JUCO players in the country, and he'll square off against a tough Tigers lineup that features the impressive bat of Alex Conover, who leads the team with 12 home runs. In D2, back to Mississippi we go. This time it's Pearl River playing number 12 Northwest Mississippi in one of the final series of the year. After a sub-500 year last season, the Rangers have come out of nowhere as a contender, thanks in part to Cade Greer and his .425 batting average in 46 games played. For the Wildcats, they closed their season with 7 straight games against ranked opponents as they try and navigate this gauntlet before the Region 23 tournament. In D3, what a way to close the season at the top of the polls. Number 2 RCSJ Gloucester will battle number 3 Brookdale in Region 19 on Saturday. The defending national champion Roadrunners are coming off a series loss to Monroe College and are hoping to get back on track, while the Jersey Blues are building upon their 35-win season last year and look for revenge after falling to RCSJ Gloucester in the North Atlantic District Championship in 2023. In softball, a big D1 game starts in a couple of hours. Number 2 Northwest Florida State travels to take on the Commodores of Gulf Coast State. The number 11 team dropped their previous 2 games against the Raiders at Northwest Florida, but looked to salvage the season series by sweeping at home. Freshman catcher Sister Arnold is hitting over .400 for the Raiders and leads the team with 18 homers and 71 RBIs, so look out for her later today. In D2, number 7 Kirkwood plays number 19 North Iowa Area in a Region 6 contest on Saturday. The Trojans are led by Katie Olive, who is coming off her 3rd ICCAC Player of the Week honor this year. Meanwhile, the Eagles have tallied 24 wins in a row and have no plans on stopping heading into the conference tournament. And lastly, in D3 softball, number 4 Corning will get a test from the Herkimer Generals, who received votes in the latest poll. Herkimer has lost once since February, and an upset win would go a long way with 8 games remaining, while the Red Barons are flying high as winners of 8 straight. Important games being decided this weekend, so be sure to tune into those on the team's website. All right, we've got a break, but when we come back, we have special guest Tad Slowik, a former scouting director for the Houston Astros, to talk about JUCO baseball with us. Stay with us.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
Welcome back into NJCAA All Access. We got a new guest with us today. It is Tad Slowik, the man that knows probably more than anybody else in the country about junior college baseball. Tad, we appreciate you being with us today.
Hey, it's great to be here and talk some JUCO baseball.
There's so much that's happened over the last couple of weeks and over the course of this season so far. We talked a little bit beforehand about the rankings jumping around in Division I over the last week. But what have been the biggest surprises for you so far this year?
Well, first of all, the interesting thing, putting together the rankings is always a tough task. I mean, there's so many good teams in junior college baseball. Plus, it's baseball, too. On any given day, you could run into a good pitcher that could shut you down and could, trip you up a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, some of the surprises this year, I mean, it's even though they've been up to the top of the heap most of the time, Gaston, the way they've come to Division I and only in the last couple of years, and went to the World Series last year, and the fact that they're contending for a top spot again, give them a lot of credit for that. Georgia Highlands this year has really made some good steps. I just saw them last week, and they're a big, strong, physical team, just like the teams I see in Texas and Florida. So they're big and physical. So they're, I think, ready to contend. They got a nice right-handed pitcher, Sherman, who's going to Tennessee, and so they got some pitching, they got some depth, so they're ready to go. One of the interesting things was John Logan was an interesting, they spent a lot of time in the top 10 for me, and they got Drew Peska, who's probably going to be the, I would think would be one of the first junior college players to go in the draft this year. I've seen him up to 99 and really throws the ball well, and when you got a number one horse like that, you could go deep in the playoffs. Johnson County, to me, they've been a good program for a while. It's nice to see them putting everything together. They went to the Grand Junction last year. It's nice to see that going on there, and some other teams have really kind of played their way into the conversation. In Division II, we got Wallace Dothan their first year down at D2. They're up at the top of the ranks, and Ryan Eiley has done a great job over there. Taking over for Mackie Sasser, and really done a great job with that program. And then you got the monsters behind with LSU and East Central, Pearl River. All quality teams. Southeastern Iowa's a real good club. Just a lot of the same things. There's been a couple teams that have kind of jumped up, but not a lot of surprises. In D3, it's interesting though that Northampton team has really come on strong. They're a good club every year, but I think they really are putting it together this year, and have a chance of getting past like Gloucester and Eastfield and some of these other top clubs. Brookdale from New Jersey's put a real nice team together this year too, and and then Niagara and Herkimer always are going to be a tough threat. So Surrey from North Carolina is kind of a team that's come on and had a nice season. That is a threat down there too. So a lot of, so many good teams. It's just great to try to put things together each week in the rankings.
Yeah, it's definitely been a lot of fun to see all the movement. You talk a little bit about Eastfield, who was up there at the top of the ranks in Division III. They're getting beat by other Dallas teams, so movement all over the place. And some of that movement in Division I, we talked about a little bit beforehand, but Iowa Western drops out of their top spot with that loss to Southeastern. Is that any cause for concern for you? What do you think the Iowa Western mentality is right now?
No, I think, Southeastern, man, they're a real good club. I would say that they have a good chance as anybody in Enid this year if they get there. They got a good club. So, a lot of these teams like Iowa Westerns, the Central Arizona, all these teams play such good play such good programs and such good competition. The good teams in junior college baseball actually seek out other good teams. So, they're going to take hits once in a while. I don't think it's going to affect Iowa Western at all. I think they got a good, strong club, and they're going to be, very confident, I think, going into the postseason.
All right, Tad, last question for you. What are some names that we should look out for moving into the home stretch of the season?
Well, at D1, I like Central Arizona. They got the pitching. JoJo Howie's in his first year out there, doing a great job. But they got pitching depth, left side, right side. They got some really good depth pitching. That's why I think they could make a real good run. It's kind of funny. Aaron Biddle last year at Wabash Valley in his first year took his team all the way to a championship game. So we'll see maybe if JoJo could repeat that. But Johnson County's going to be awfully tough because they're so well balanced. They got the pitching and hitting and defense too. There's so many good teams that could win it, and I think what we're going to see in the next few weeks, especially as the playoffs start kicking in gear, we're going to see a lot of surprises. Teams that we thought were rock solid to go to Grand Junction or Enid or Greenville are going to end up getting tripped up along the way because they're just such good competition. If you're not playing well that day, you're going to have a tough time here in JUCO baseball.
The top of the rankings across all three divisions this year have been so competitive, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. Thank you, Tad, for breaking it down with us, and we appreciate you taking the time today.
No problem. Love covering JUCO baseball. It's a great thing.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
I have a little birthday message for you from someone too.
I heard you really love basketball. You're a good shooter and a good dribbler. Happy birthday, MJ, and I hope you enjoy your day.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Welcome back to NJCAA All Access. It's time to break down our spring sports rankings and the movement up and down the polls, starting with a new #1 in Division I baseball. Johnson County jumps up a few spots to become the new top dog. Iowa Western Series loss to Southeastern drops them all the way to 5. A number of teams making big jumps. Northwest Florida baseball climbs 4 spots to 7. Weatherford up 5 spots to 8. Pima up 6 spots to 10. And Indian River State makes an appearance at 13. In D2, the Mississippi schools continue to flip-flop as East Central is back to 2nd. St. John's River State ascends 3 spots to 11, and a couple of small changes, including Western Oklahoma dropping back to 15. Northampton remains atop the D3 polls as the unanimous #1. Dallas College Eastfield falls to 4, and Camp stumbles back to 9. The top 6 in D1 softball remains unblemished, but Southern Idaho enters the top 7, and no new teams in the poll as a couple of squads bounce around. In D2, Lewisburg out of the top 3 and down to 6. North Iowa area tumbles 4 spots, and 8 teams sit just outside the poll, all of them receiving votes. And one significant change in the D3 rankings, Northampton jumps from 10 to 7 in the Week 5 poll. That wraps up this week's rankings, which sets us up for Junior College Gems. With convention last week, we had 2 weeks of highlights to comb through. Here are the top 5 that we could find across the NJCAA. First, with maybe the catch of the year, Grant Hubner of St. Charles CC takes off for this pop-up in foul ground, makes the play, and then flips over the railing while securing the out. Jaw-dropping stuff from Hubner, who stops on a dime and sticks the landing to make the play for the Cougars. More dazzling dives on the diamond. This time it's Barton and Jaron Cotton ranging into foul territory from his shortstop position. Fully stretched, he makes the catch and barrels into the wall in front of the bullpen. How about that effort as Cotton covers a ton of ground and he makes the play? The leaps don't stop in baseball. How about this for a final out in the ball game? Allie Hageman leaves her feet and gets the jersey dirty, preventing the tying and potentially the winning run from scoring to earn the victory for Butler. More clutch softball defense for Paris JC. It's Lacey Barracochia who guns down the would-be winning run at third base in extra innings, getting the double play for the Dragons. A long throw from the fence is on the money, and it fires up her squad in a game against Bossier Parish. Lastly, it's Northeast Mississippi and Ava Meeks, who is the hero in the 11th inning. Down by a run, down to their final 3 outs, Meeks blasts one over the batting facility in left field to knock off Holmes and put a close on this week's Junior College Gems. Thanks for all the submissions over the last couple of weeks. Reminder to tag us on social media if you want your highlights to be seen. Thanks everybody for tuning in today here on NJCAA All Access, and we'll be back next week for more action in 2-year college athletics.